A lot of troubles in the workplace these days for small business owners and really any employers. And the problem is that employees are not happy. In fact, the latest Gallup poll shows that almost a fifth of workers describe themselves as, quote, actively disengaged from their jobs. And there's some talk that maybe managers need to become mentors and they need to coach them up. And we just so happen to have a man here to help with that. He's a leadership expert. He addresses companies all over the country on how to create great workplace culture. Coach Michael Lin is with us. Coach, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you on. And there's been this idea of being a coach, or as opposed to being a manager or a boss, and it does have different connotations. Is that why you like to use that title instead of a manager or boss?
Yes.
Let's expand on that then. When you talk to companies about becoming a mentor, some of the areas where they're failing the worst? I guess is the way to put it.
Okay. Um, for starters, okay, America is no longer a manual labor based economy. The economy here is a knowledge based economy. Most, if not all, of our workers are knowledge workers. Even if you work in construction, it's knowledge based work and you use power tools. You don't use hand tools a lot. Um, so, from an employee's perspective, okay, knowledge workers, they understand their job security is their skill set. Their skill set is their job security. So they want to learn so they can maintain employed today, but also more importantly, they want to make sure they are employed 20 years down the road and earn more money. So if you treat them like a coach, you're helping them, they're going to love it. But if your mind is stuck in the 1950s, that everybody is a factory worker and you are just going to crack a whip, that's not going to work anymore.
Michael Lin is with us, a leadership expert, Coach Lin. And, I fully see what you're saying. I get it. I think that's right. But there are also maybe some thin lines here because when you're a boss, sometimes you have to make tough decisions or unpopular decisions. That's a tough line to walk, right?
Correct. Now, where a lot of the bosses, okay, shoot themselves in the foot is they don't realize if they were in the position of their employees, okay, having been told, especially the way they've been told, they themselves would have felt the same way. Oh, what? So am I a printer in the office? You just gonna use me until I die? You're gonna chuck me in the bin and then buy another one? But if you treat them, you understand they are human beings. They have feelings. They're here to learn something. Then your mindset will switch. You will treat them like students, like athletes, and think of yourself as a coach. And they want to learn five things. Number one, hard skill, how to do the job better. Number two, they want to learn organizational knowledge. This thing will require collaboration with the other department, the person in the other department. Number three, how do I get collaboration from someone else in the different department? They might be busy. They may not want to work with me. They might want to go left, but I want to go right. So how do you use influence and persuasion to get collaboration from someone else? And number four, industry knowledge. Who is the customer? Who is paying the bills here? For example, a corporate IT department. They help users, but users don't pay them. They paid by the corporation. So that's something you need to understand. And number five is wisdom on life. So what if you're trying to advance your career, you're trying to push a project through, and life threw three roadblocks at you? How do you overcome difficulties? How do you overcome challenges? Do you view it as, why is the entire universe against me? Or do you view it as, here's a learning opportunity. I'm going to learn how to overcome this. I'm going to jump over it, walk around it, dig a hole from under it. Once I overcome this challenge, I expand my thinking. I become a more capable of a person. So all of this are good for me. So if you teach this sort of stuff to your employees, you're going to create loyalty from your team to you and your corporation. And you become a more capable of a manager, and your own career in management will go places.
We're talking with Coach Michael Lin about trying to manage employees, and the top three complaints, I guess, of those disengaged were that they don't feel valued, they don't feel a sense of belonging, were the top two answers. And some of what you were just talking about speaks to that, Coach Lin, but there's a little more involved there. There's a little bit more psychology about feeling valued and a sense of belonging. That is a little bit different than developing the skill set. This involves some interpersonal relationships and communications, huh?
Yes. If you take care of them, okay, you hear them, you listen to them, you want to hear what their challenges are, what their frustrations are, and then you offer advice, you help them, they're going to feel a sense of belonging. If they come to you and go, oh, boss, that thing we're trying to do, it's difficult. And then you just say something nasty to them, why are you being so weak? Why are you complaining? Go figure it out for yourself. They're going to feel like, well, I guess as far as you're concerned, I'm just like a printer here. So they're not going to feel a sense of belonging. But if they come to you and say, oh, boss, I'm facing this and that and the other challenge, and I feel like kind of frustrated, and you listen to them, you make them feel good, you encourage them, you explain their confusion away. You thought, oh, no, that's the opposite. And your thinking is actually good for a different environment, where I think that's where you learned that from your previous environment. But in this environment, it's different. Let's say you grew up driving in Los Angeles and you're dealing with traffic. And then now you move to Nebraska, it's not traffic, it's winter snow you got to deal with. That's the sort of coaching we're talking about here.
And Coach Michael Lin, is there maybe a website that you have or someplace people can start if they're interested in looking at your services or your advice there?
Sure. Come connect with me at CoachMichaelLin.com. Lin is L-I-N, CoachMichaelLin.com. Come ask me any questions to do with leadership.
And we're coaching them up with Coach Lin this morning. Hopefully it helps some folks retain their employees or make their workplaces better. Coach Lin, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.